Hello and welcome back to Colour Multimedia Enterprises. My name is Luke. I have finally fixed the issue that was, of course, with the new line escape character, which was in fact the \n, which would initially create a new line, which is what it technically does, which is actually breaking the link here. So if we were to test the game now, it should actually work properly, and I'll go through the details of it here. So as you can see, click here to add one, it's adding one and it's displaying it. So what's going on? Where's X? Why have we got go to passage 1 here, and why are we doing all this? Okay, so if I go back here, what I've done is I've initialized X, then I've said go to passage 1. So that then goes to this passage, which is why you saw hello there and how are you. Now the \n will of course work in here, but it won't actually work in a link, mainly because it will interpret it as a new line, and since it is interpreting it as a new line, it's going to apply that formatting to the passage first before it actually applies the formatting itself in order to render it as a link. So because of that, it's not actually detecting it as a link. So what I've done is I've put new line here, and that applies after it's being formatted. So there you go. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, we have of course finally managed to get it working. So obviously, as we saw, we add this click here to add 1, so we do X plus 1. We then go to passage 1, and the reason we do that is because we want to basically make sure that when we append show, we don't actually continue appending onto the passage. So if I were to just do this, oops, I forgot to save it, so that'll still be the same. So if I save it, test passage, game even, if I were to do that, as you can see, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not refreshing the passage, so that's what we want to do in order to prevent the text being appended all the time in the same passage. So now that we understand how that works, we can move on to the next part of the tutorial. Now in the next part, what I'm going to show you is the ability to actually format and change the colors of text, fonts, that sort of thing. So the way that we do that is by updating the colors of other such things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do I can't even remember my own functions now. I think I can't actually remember. Okay, so I'm going to go onto GitHub and find out what's going on with this. So I am going to go onto GitHub. I'm going to go to my documentation so that I actually know what I'm doing, so that I can show you where everything is. So if we go over here to this here, we've got as you can see, text and font customization. If you were to go over here, it will show you, and that's of course what my functions are. Okay, so now that we now have that in place, what we can do is of course choose from this. So I can choose background color, and this takes uint variables. So in order to start a hexadecimal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 0 times and then what I'm going to do is FF0000, and basically that'll change our background color to red. Let's change the passage color to, let's see, 0 times a darker red. Let's try a darker red. There is also transparency for this, so what I'm going to do is put 1 there, so it'll be fully opaque instead of fully transparent. What I'm also going to do is set the menu text color, and I'm going to make this yellow. So I'm going to do 0 times FFFF00, and then I'm going to do set link format. So what I'm going to do is, in the first argument, using single quotes, not double, I'm going to do main bold, so that will make sure that our link is bold. I'm going to set it with a color, and that's going to be 0 times let's think about this. I want to try and make it gold, so I'm thinking BB4400. That would, in theory, make it sort of gold, maybe a dark gold, I'm not 100% sure. And the last but not least, I'm going to set the menu color to white, so I'm going to do FFFFFF. Okay, so I'm going to double check that. Set link format, if we go over here, oh, that's the size, isn't it? Of course. So we can in fact remove the size part, so it will be it will default to, I believe, 10 pixels or 12. I'm not 100% convinced on that. Oh, also set text format, we can do that as well. Set text format. So I'm going to make this main, and I'm going to make the color there. And the reason we can omit it is because it is optional. We don't need to specify. So we can try this. There you go. As you can see, there is an issue though. It's not actually displaying this, as you can see. So there is an issue with our syntax. There's obviously an error somewhere in this, so I'm gonna quickly close this. So it's set in the background color, it's set in the passage color. Yep, that's fine. Menu text color, it did that as well. Link format, I think that's where our problem is. So it does look like it is not optional, so it looks like we do actually have to put the size there, so I'll put that there. And we've already set menu text color. 12. That'll do. Okay, let's test that. Okay, so as you can see, it's formatting has completed. How about if we wanted to make it green instead? We can do that. So I'm going to do 00 there, and I'm going to change the middle part blue. I'm going to make the background passage dark green, or possibly even green. That is technically lime. And then we'll just do the difference here, and let's change this to black now. In fact, we can technically just get rid of that because the default is black, so we don't actually need to do that. And we'll change this as well and get rid of that because it's all the default. So save that, test it. As you can see, it has been changed. And it all still works properly. Okay, so as you can see, this all obviously still works. So yeah, that's a little bit on formatting and changing the colors and font sizes and stuff like that. So could change the font size to 14 if we wanted to. Why you would, I don't know, but as you can see, changes. So yeah, what you can of course do is set the link format and then append a link. So what we can do is we can just cut that. We can set it here, and then we can set it back again. So what I'm going to do is main 10, and then I'm going to, let's make it yellow, a bit of a nice contrast, and then we can append another link and click here to continue. And I'm just going to put in here, go to passage, oops, yeah, go to passage 2. So I'm going to quickly save that. I'm going to add another passage, and here I'm just going to do hello again, and I'll give this passage a title, of course. Continue. I'll save that. Test game. Wait for it to compile. Oh. Well, is there a problem with this? Now that is interesting. Certainly doesn't look like that. Interesting. Looks like we have another problem. Yeah, maybe it's not a good idea using that. Maybe it's not. Oh, wait. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. What I'm first going to do is append show. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put. Just going to make a new line a moment. So I'm just going to do new line there. And I think the reason why it just did that is because it's trying to format both the links at the same time. Although I could just be making stuff up. Okay, so well, it's not really working. So it's obviously setting the link format, whatever the final one is, and then it's applying it to the links within that given passage. So you can't technically give all links, the links in specific links in your passage to do different, have different formats. So that's not something that you can do. But yeah, that's how you would get rid of that error. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and hopefully I'll see you next time.